adopt and Bristol can adopt following another public hearing of both communities.
Then my motion would read to recommend the administrator and council continue working with Bristol and to come back at a later time with an agreement that the board can consider.
Motion by Mike, second by Steve. Any further discussion on that motion?
So the final decision not to go to be made after the public hearing.
Correct.
We have an agreement, but we go to the public hearing first.
We go to the public hearing first, and then the agreement can change after the public hearing. And then then the next step after the public hearing and the comments is, at some point, just like both people have to agree to a contract, both boards would have to pass the same words in the cooperative agreement, and then it would be submitted to the Wisconsin Department of Administration, who weighs in as well and might ask you to make changes as well.
Because what I'm concerned is that the people in Bristol get the proper information, which I believe was given to them in the hearing in September.
Certainly more meetings will give people more information, so that's certainly I think in something important as this, it probably is a good idea to have belt and suspenders.
Okay. Motion second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. And moves us to item D.
Mr. President, if I could, on the agenda, request that we would move item K, Lisa Otto's here. And she's not feeling well and she has no place to go, so I'd like to be able to get her on her way.
Second.
Motion is second to move item K to the, up on the agenda, behind item E. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. That then brings us to item K. That is to receive and consider the report on televising board and commission meetings.
Before I begin, Mr. President, there were 2 comments that I want to address from citizens' comments on this project. From Bob Babcock Sr. Appreciate your efforts into surveying other communities. We did this report was prepared by professionals in-house. We didn't contract out the work. And with respect to Bob Jr. and Alex's comments about the staff report, sometimes some of the staff work gets out really quick, and sometimes it's evolving. And Ruth and I were working on some of the aspects of this end of the day. In fact, Desmond was putting the PowerPoint together right up until the meeting time. So what the board has is my initial draft and then a final draft that we come out with tonight. I typically am not going to release materials unless I've got the point where it's complete for the board to make their consideration, rather than having incomplete documents that are out for review. With the just want to go over where we are with the multimedia system that we have today. We have done some things since the budget started. We've upgraded the speaker system that right now is above all the people in the audience as well as ourselves. That was done as part of the energy efficiency work that was done in the building to insulate the walls and re-insulate the system. And as we did that, we, rather than do that and then rip it all up when we put in speakers in the future, we went ahead and put those speakers in at was not a critical cost. Microphones is an item that's out there. Microphones currently in use are these short gooseneck microphones that were published from or purchased from an off-brand manufacturer probably 17 years ago. That as every now and then anybody's been to these meetings, sometimes the pickup pattern isn't true, it's not consistent. And sometimes they can be heard clearly or loudly, or sometimes not at all. IT department proposing that it would take $3,000 for 12 new 18-inch goosenecks from Shure, who would, is a brand name. So we have 5 board members, staff, and one for the podium. And they're better microphones. In addition to that, if you're up here, you see we have some cabling that's kind of in a bundle here. We'd be looking to replace that cabling and get something that runs better than that. There's also an item for gates and compressors. Audio gates are just that. If someone is not speaking directly in the microphone, the audio signal does not get past the gate. Side conversations or off the record comments, remarks, because of a lower volume, not because somebody's talking off the record, are not overheard through the microphones. Audio compressors smooth out the audio signals. Gates and compressors for the microphones are estimated to be $1,000. The audio recording, this is something we have done for $750, and this was what enabled us to be able to create the recordings that we see and get that up on the website. We get that up on the website. Generally, Roost people are pretty good about getting it the next morning. As they get it up. So if anybody wanted to know read something that occurred in the Kenosha News, they could go to the website and listen to the recording as it occurred. Projector screen mounting hardware. The cost of a screen, 108 inches by 108 inches, would be approximately $1,600, including mounting hardware for the screen would be behind the dais, so that people aren't looking from sides. Sometimes the side is a clear picture. Given if you're sitting in the far back, you might not be as good to look at it. There we are. So we felt that having the screen behind the board, where everybody can look straight up at the screen, would be the more rational way to look at it. The projector, capable of handling video and computer image, would be $600. Ceiling mounting would be $1,500. Video recording equipment. IT is recommending 3 cameras for the auditorium, 2 cameras that cover the dais, 1 that cover the podium and the audience. They're also recommending pan, tilt, zoom cameras with a remote joystick control. This is similar to what we use at the Iceplex. This allows for the entire operation to be handled by one operator. Cuts out labor expenses and provides for a product that's a lot superior, more superior than one whole camera can. Cost of the camera controller portion is $10,000, $3,300 per camera. Controller for the cameras would be approximately $1,300. A computer source, PowerPoint. As we go through our PowerPoint projections, sometimes it just has to help people follow through. Sometimes it's maps or visuals that somebody can see. You want to integrate those PowerPoint presentations into the video recording. And you want that to be done clearly. That's a post-production item. And what we don't want to do is get in such a way that it's being edited. It's not the content, it's being edited, it's lighted in so that you can see an image of the screen. You'll actually see the PowerPoint, so that, because the maps are fairly detailed, and if it's just a video of the wall versus what the actual map looks like, that's what this accomplishes. It requires a significant amount of storage. Storage is $1,300. I think we're still working on a price for post-production work with PowerPoint. One of the pieces of equipment is called a NewTek TriCaster. It's an $8,000 box. We already have one at the Ice Arena in Recplex, and a replacement solution for the Recplex is needed. It costs $5,800, so we could manipulate that equipment around. Monitor is also recommended so that the person who's doing the work joysticks and see what's going on. There's some minor items such as furniture and equipment rack that's $640. Cabling is $1,000. We don't have an estimate on power right now. We don't have enough adequate power in the building, in the auditorium, to run the system. Since the screen would be behind us, we're recommending that there be small monitors placed with the board at the dais, so looking backwards at the screen, or so they can see what's going on.